From the get-go, Monkey Man shows you the story it wants to tell. A story of achievement and those who tear you down for it. This movie is a visual experience. Everything it does is at its best to show and not to tell. And it's always very close up and kind of claustrophobic, doing what it can to make sure everything on frame is meant to be there and have a purpose. And for the real emotional bits, it zooms up even closer, getting right into the eye of someone so you can see every expression that is being felt. Add in the repetition of images and scenes being played over and over again, you have yourself a plot that slowly unravels itself. I like that the main character is nameless and idolizes a storybook character. He is a very good self-insert and a representation of the people. Compared to the villains or the antagonists of the movie, they are all big names. They're all well known within the world that they live in. And it plays into itself. The main villains may not know who our protagonist is, doesn't even get to learn his name. But because they want to grow their empire, they displace people, causing a revenge plot to begin, thus beginning the hero's journey for who we'll call Bobby from now on. And even though Bobby does have the hero's journey laid out for him and is foreshadowed for us in the very first scene of the movie, there are still intricate moments in each act that I kind of want to go over. The first act is all about learning about our main character, on how he is driven by revenge and he fights for himself. This is seen within the fighting rings that he dons the monkey mask, his idol, the character that he looks up to, yet the people don't look up to him in that same fashion because he is playing the system. And because he's playing the system, he is destined to lose. Just like how he rigs the fights and loses on the fights, he plays the system in trying to get a job, and he plays the system in working within a network of, well, villainous people just to get close to the person he wants to kill. The problem is the people who control the system aren't playing by the same rules that he is playing by. More on that later. And he goes in, gets himself a gun, and really gets up close to assassinate the person who he has this vengeance plot against, yet it doesn't work. And the gun is a representation of his lack of self-confidence in his own abilities and how he is being controlled by hatred. This is where we kind of rush into the second act, where it's more weaker of the three, but after we leave the belly of the beast, there's kind of this renewal, rebirth. It's a bit of an ex machina how he gets found and survival, but I like the representation of water and the meaning and stuff that's behind it all. This movie does a fantastic job at making sure that its dominoes are lined up. Wherever we hear about the trans people and how they are being displaced just as much as he was, and they're being discriminated against, they help him and they become a kind of minority and a voice of the people and saying that they are the people that are getting oppressed. And our main character, Bobby, learns that his whole drive for vengeance can serve a greater purpose rather than just serving himself. Which brings us to the third act, where he actually goes into the fighting ring and just wins the fight. He breaks the rules. He doesn't play by who's supposed to win and who's supposed to lose. He is creating his own system. And because of that, he is fighting for the people. The people see this, begin to cheer for him as he now has a purpose. He is beginning to win because he has purpose. This is why he bleaches his mask. Not only does it match the white fur of the monkey man from the story he loves so much, but it also is a sign of purity, and it shows that he is on a more pure and righteous path. When he goes back into the club to fight off all the bad guys, he walks in, starts kicking ass and taking names because he is more self-confident and he has belief in what he is actually doing and is fully driven. This is then mirrored whenever he reaches the top, where he finally ascends to the top of the building, and he finally faces up against Baba Shakti, which I really hope I said that correctly. I'm sorry if I didn't. Now, this is a man who also says he's for the people and says he brings purity and peace. He is represented constantly with the images of a lion, something that's supposed to show the king of the jungle, but also represent the sun. Whereas earlier in the story, when the monkey man grabbed the sun, he achieved his goal but was punished by the gods. And so this kind of has a double meaning behind it. The king of the jungle who took Bobby, our main character, out of his home, the jungle, and also the son, his goal and final achievement in progressing through things. When we finally see these two characters meet, we see that Baba is cleaning his own feet in a pool of water. And you can make some references, but the first thing that came to my mind was how Jesus goes out and cleans other people's feet, showing that he is selfless and is willing to be humble, whereas this man is self-serving and is not as humble, all the while talking about purity and protecting life, while at the same moment ready to pull out a dagger and stab our main character. The significance of all of this is how the movie loves to show and not tell. You have the main villains who like to talk, but their actions speak way louder than their words. And then you have our main character who never speaks his name and ends up being a voice for the people. I do find that the second act in the transitioning from the Vengeance arc to the people's hero doesn't translate too well, or I don't really see where the motivation really lies, other than the fact that you're no longer mad at the dog who followed the order, but at the owner who had the leash of the dog. Nonetheless, Monkey Man is action-packed. It's thrilling. It's got you always questioning what's on screen, what references are going on. Its imagery, simile, and metaphors are on point, which is why I have to give Monkey Man a 9 out of 10. Until next time, guys, play nice. Hey, I'm Mario. I like playing video games, watching movies, and Dungeons and Dragons. If you keep getting me in your suggested videos, or you're watching this video right here, consider subscribing. It goes a long way. Thank you. I almost didn't talk about the action scenes, and you guys know how much I love action scenes. In The Monkey Man, there's a lot of moments where if you closely watch, you can see how little contact or how no contact is actually being made, but the fact that the camera stays centered and focused on what's going on, and that it shifts whenever the action is supposed to happen, and that there are moments where characters or the stuntmen are taking real falls mixed in with the moments that they're choreographing the fight. It just feels for a more raw, intense, in the moment experience. Plus, it's all happening so fast and there's so many things going on, and they're changing the dynamic of it all, that when you're in the moment, you're in the moment, which is why I gotta love the action in this film and why I prefer it. Even if you do slow things down and catch when they are faking it, it doesn't matter. I'd rather it be like that than like whatever Marvel Cinematic Universe has been doing as of recently. Well, most recently.